everyone. It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajulu Olabisi Ubu, and with me are the amazing ladies. How you doing, Nima Akashantvir? Good morning.
I'm very grateful to God. I want to say thank you to the Baba Adini of Lagos for hosting Iftar with Nima yesterday. It was really very warm, very warm host as a host. Himself, his family, Diarewa Adini of Lagos, his wife, and the League of Imams that attended from the Lagos Central Mosque. They particularly singled TVC, Nima, Adedoja Salabadeni out for prayers, and it just humbled me somehow like that, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. And the episode will show today, inshallah, this evening on Tar with Nima.
Well done, Nima. How you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. So today is the first day of the first cohort of the Real Estate Mastery and Mentorship Program.
Wow.
I don't think I think I mentioned it just once the day Mariah was like she was getting sponsored to, but I said I'm not stressed, Mariah. I am very grateful. My husband was like, "Are you prepared?" I said, "Of course." I'm grateful for my team because throughout March I wasn't around and everybody was doing their work.
What they were supposed to do.
Yes, we have our manual ready. We have our people. I've gotten a picture right now of about 10 people already in class out of the 30 people that were taken for this particular cohort. I made it too cheap, I realized. It wasn't, the cost of putting it together is far more expensive than what, because I always feel like, these people charging 350, 500K. What are they doing?
You need to know what gets in.
Now I know what gets in. It is actually very, very expensive to pull off. And I'm just saying, this first one, you are enjoying because my eye, yes, is going to be different, but it will still be equally valuable.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My daughter actually wanted to come and do her internship with you for 2 weeks, but we're not navigating. Will you stay with Auntie Tokwe? Because I can't do this and wait for you every day. So we're still having that conversation because she's really hell-bent on doing real estate. She said she wants to make her first billion at 21.
Please,
she has a goal.
Please,
I said, Tokwe is your person.
Please.
You don't want to come and sell market
so
with me? She said no. She wants real estate. So I'm still going back and forth with the father.
I love that kind of ambition.
Yeah. How you doing, Amaka?
I'm fine, thank you. So yesterday after work, I and Mariah hung out. At least we hung out at my store.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in Lekki. So yeah, we had a good day. Yeah.
You hung out with only Mariah.
No.
Nima, did you hear this?
No, did you just hear
this?
She dropped it. You know this one I said that. Yes.
Okay.
We ended up in hanging out.
Oh wow.
Like hanging out, but like hanging out at the store shopping, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she patronized me. That was so kind of her.
Oh,
yes,
that's Mariah.
Yes, yeah, really sweet of her.
Always supporting.
Yeah, traveling from here. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
It was a good Easter for me. I was supposed to be at a Bukuta with Mariah.
Yeah.
And we couldn't make it. Something came up. And Oga was like, we have to. I couldn't make it. But it was a good Easter. We just had family time, a little bit of getaway, family and friends, and all of that. And we thank God. The kids are on holiday, so nobody's waking up early now.
As in,
can wake up at, yes, their school is saying they have to do online classes, but I trust my kids. They will sleep till 12, and I don't want to disturb them. They can always go to Google Classroom and get their assignment. And that's it. Let's see how this week goes. And I'm also planning a sale. Yes, I'm planning a sale. I'm crashing prices because I want to get rid of old, things, especially outfits, and then have space to bring in more. Yes. So I'll be giving you guys details from tomorrow on the sales that's going to be happening. Let's do a short break now. When we come back, we'll take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll start the newspaper review with The Nation. Major headline: Banks, experts okay CBN's policy on recapitalization. Don't threaten Fubara with impeachment. Geregu power plant's capacity raises to 1,300 megawatts. Tinubu for Faye's inauguration as Senegal president. Macky Sall bows out. Ayedatiwa disowns 273 aides appointed by commissioner. Zenith wins Global Finance Bank Awards, Best Bank Awards. Electricity tariff hike likely as gas to power price rises to 2.48 US dollars. What stories do we have in the nation?
So I have Senator Ningi's story.
Okay.
The Senate's committee, the head of the Committee on Media and Public Affairs, that's the chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, said that the Senate are still on a break. He was addressing press who were asking questions about Ningi's letter. You know, Senator Ningi is the senator who alleged padding of the budget. Said there were 2 budgets that was is being executed by the executive and one passed by the House, which he said was padded. And so the Senate had summoned him on the floor of the House to either rebut his allegations or, substantiate them. He apologized for the statement, but the Senate, some other senators moved that he be suspended, and he was suspended. So he got his lawyers, Femi Falana, to write to the Senate president, insisting that he is reinstated or that he will proceed with legal actions against them. Now, press men were asking the Senate chairman on the Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, and he said that the Senate was still on Easter and Eid break. They will be resuming on the 16th of April, and that when they resume, that is when they will address the issue. But when the Senate president was returning from the, was it the UN Assembly that he attended? That's the 148th meeting of the Interparliamentary Union in Geneva. He was asked, and he said that when the Senate resumes on the 16th of April, those issues will be resolved. He says it is a parliamentary decision, and a letter has not yet reached him. But Senator Ningi is one of us, according to him. Okay, let me say in his words. He says, it is a parliamentary decision. I have not seen the letter yet, but Senator Ningi is one of us. I believe that in a few days, he will join us. There is no problem. It will be resolved amicably. The Senate is one family. That was the stand of the...
We are together. Yeah. So I have a story here, the major headline. We remember that on Thursday, the CBN released the circular on review of minimum capital requirements for commercial banks, merchant and non-interest banks. And they had increased the minimum capital for commercial banks with international affiliations to 500 billion capital. Commercial banks with national authorization have 200 billion capital. Commercial banks with regional license, 50 billion, and others also, which included merchant banks, 50 billion, non-interest banks with national licenses, 20 billion, non-interest banks with regional licenses, 10 billion minimum, and all of that. So the recapitalization policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria has now finally received the backing of deposit money banks, which they are the ones that are required to increase their capital base. And experts are talking about it, analyzing it, and saying that the policy should be given a thumbs up. And but they are cautioning that the implementation should not be done in a disruptive manner so as not to rupture the economy. So the banks together have all endorsed the policy, which has mandated them to shore up their capital, and they are going to extend it. There's enough time for them to come together if you decide to sell or you decide to put capital together till 2026. So they have enough time to sort that out. And I'm happy that all the banks are in agreement with this. Any other stories?
Yeah, I have don't threaten Fubara with impeachment. PDP wants lawmakers. Rivers State chapter of the People's Democratic Party yesterday told the 27 lawmakers of the House of Assembly that they lacked the legitimacy to impeach Governor Seun Fubara. The All Progressive Congress lawmakers had on Saturday threatened to commence a fresh impeachment proceedings against the governor if he continued to allegedly breach the 1999 Constitution and the state laws. The lawmakers, whose position statement was read by Speaker Martins Amehule, said they must not forget that we swore an oath of allegiance to the Constitution to do the needful, including the impeachment of the governor, as a last resort. So if it becomes a last resort, we will not hesitate to do so because no individual is bigger than Rivers State, including the governor himself. They also accused Fubara of failing to honor all the truths, that was reached when the President Bola Tinubu, Ahmed Tinubu, conveyed them in Abuja, and that he has been running the state without an approved budget. Tinubu's intervention in October has saved the governor from being sacked by the legislators who are loyal to the immediate past governor of the state. and Federal Capital Territory Minister, Seun Kuti. So we all know what's been going on in Rivers State, the back and forth with the current governor. I just feel that they're not really giving him room to actually do anything and lead. They should give him the space. It's his tenure. Allow the man
to do the work.
Let him do the work. You're distracting him from doing the work. Instead of him focusing.
And later he come back and
say he's not doing anything. So the back and forth is too much. Allow the man breathe. Let him work. Let him have time to even process and and put into action everything that he has said he was going to do. You should give him space.
So I want to take the electricity tariff story because I know Nigerians have been agitating and clamoring that they shouldn't increase the electricity tariff, but it's like people don't have, there's no choice. It's going to happen. Wow. Why? The Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has yesterday announced the increase for the price of natural gas. And they said they've increased it. This price has been the same since 2021. The price has been the same since 2021, and it was $2.18. That's $2.18 since 2021. And the Gencos and the Gencos are complaining that they pegged their price based on $2.18. However, now the price has been changed to $2.42 to about $2.50 to $2.92. With this change in price, it is not possible for Gencos to maintain the same price they are currently producing, serving power. They said that the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission had already come up with a framework, a financial framework called the multi-year tariff order. And in that multi-year tariff order, they had written down that the price for gas coming to the Gencos will be $2.18. Now, in April, based on this announcement, the price of gas will be coming to them at $2.50 to $2.92 per cubic feet. So they can't sustain the current price. So there is likely going to be a change in price of electricity. Please, I have a question. Can we see the electricity we are going to be changing price for? Because yesterday,
we're not even having it at all.
I was sweating like,
wow.
Because I didn't know they would take light. Our light now is we're not even seeing light.
We're not seeing light at all.
It was really, really bad. So if we want to hike the power, can we please see the power we want?
Pay for it and see it, yeah.
Exactly.
Makes more sense. Let's move on now to The Punch. Major headline, Discos make 1 trillion amid grid crisis. Unmetered customers hit 5.8 million. Discos grew revenue by 30% in 2023. Overbilled customers despite grid collapses. Electricity tariff hike looms as federal government raises gas price. NEC vows more sanctions over estimated bills. Tinubu African leaders grace Senegal president swearing in today. OPEC oil output plunges as Nigeria and Iraq slash exports. NEC sits over state police as governor play forest guards. Ex-governor's trial show EFCC won't spare anyone. This is according to Olukoyede. Easter, fun seekers flood parks, beaches amid tough times. Presidential nod, Ondo APC governor aspirants beseech Abuja for Tinubu's endorsement. Please go after hoodlums for raiding night bus and robbing passengers. Zenith Bank extends win as Nigeria's best bank. What stories do we have in The Punch?
So this is basically just an article, basically just stating the obvious. The Punch reports that the April 28th governorship primary elections that will be happening in Ondo State has made intensified visits compulsory for presidential for the governorship candidates in the Ondo April 20th governorship primaries for the APC. And all the political parties in Ondo State now are preparing for their primaries in various capacities. INEC has fixed April for all the political parties in the state to conduct their primaries, and the commission also scheduled November 16 this year for the governorship poll, since the rigorous preparation by politicians and parties towards winning the elections. Of course, as expected, people are traveling to Abuja to see if the president can endorse either or anybody who they believe that such endorsement will, of course, cost the person to victory in the primaries. So that's basically what they're talking about.
Okay, we'll do a short break now. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. We're still reviewing The Punch. Who else has a story?
Yes, the major headline in Punch is a continuation of the story I had taken in The Nation. It's talking about the electricity situation, but reflecting other people in the electricity value chain. So first, the tariff hike in gas would affect Gencos, and this is from the MDPR. However, the discos, despite not having power, not supplying power and having epileptic power supply, according to the article from Punch, seem to be declaring profit. So there's a list of all the discos declaring profit. Between 2022 and 2023, Ikeja Electricity declared 31% profit. Eco Disco declared 42% profit. Abuja Disco declared profit as well between 2022 and 2023. Similarly, Ibadan Disco, Yola, all our discos are doing so well. It is the Nigerians that are not making the power. NEC then threatened that they were going to, because customers are kicking against the fact that they are paying estimated billing. NEC said they would pursue a legal way to ensure that the estimated billing stops, and they prosecute discos that are still giving estimated billing to people that do not have power supply, which is a major problem. Where people will say, we didn't get power this month, but because we don't have a meter, we still get a bill, and it will be accumulating. Even if you don't, and if you don't pay it or clear out, you have to like negotiate to clear out a bit of the percentage. So there's a whole lot that we need to do with our power sector. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the National Secretary of the Nigerian Electricity Consumer Advocacy Network in ECET also is saying that they are trying to come together to bring a list of all the cases of estimated billing and getting data together. I'm sure it won't be good for the discos, because it will be like if they can do a class action, but it will be good for Nigerians to push the needle to the point where these people are accountable to the people they are serving, not to their board members, and declaring profits at the detriment of the average
of their consumers.
Estimated bill subscribers have grown to 5.8 million. He said they no go cash out.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because what they simply do is share the captured.
Yes. Okay, so I have ex-governor's trial shows EFCC won't spare anyone. Olukoyede. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, has pledged to lead a broad-based and holistic anti-graft war that will not spare anyone linked with any form of economic and financial crimes. He said that in the recent arraignment of two former governors was a demonstration that the EFCC would treat no one as a sacred cow. EFCC in January arraigned the former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, for alleged theft of the state's security votes to the tune of 4 billion naira while he was in the saddle as governor between 2014 and 2022. Similarly, the Anti-Graft Agency on February 24, 2024, arraigned the immediate past Kwara State governor, Ahmed, for alleged 10 billion fraud. The spokesperson for EFCC quoted Olukoyede by saying that they will not spare anyone. They will not spare the mega thieves. That in the last 2 months, they have arraigned two former governors, and that it is not true that just focused on internet fraudsters, because people are saying that EFCC are just focused on internet fraudsters, that this is now, that even though some people are accusing them of arresting, that when they see people, young boys driving Mercedes-Benz or living a flashy lifestyle, popping champagne in the club, they go after them. Yes, they assume that they are fraudsters, but that they are not doing that. They are going after anybody that is involved in any form of financial crime.
Yes, a quick story here. The Ogun State Police Command said it had commenced an investigation into a suspected murder incident that occurred in Ijeun Titun area of Abeokuta, South Local Government area of the state. This happened on Sunday, and they said the incident happened at about 8 p.m., and it left one person identified as Olumide Danisa, known as Tescom, that he left him dead. And, you know, a lot of people had said that it was a clash of cultism. They said a confraternity, and this guy was sitting, you know, in front of his vehicle when some people just came down and attacked him, shooting him to death, which led the residents of the area, everybody scampering for safety and also fearing reprisal attacks. But the police has confirmed the story and said that it had nothing to do with cultism, that is just a case of murder, but investigations are ongoing. Let's move on quickly now to the Daily Sun. Major headline, Ondo, APC splits over choice of candidates. Wranglings in party ahead of primaries. Domestic carriers, manufacturers groan as FX scarcity persists. Rivers political crisis, PDP rises against defecting lawmakers. Insist members who joined APC no longer assemblymen. Unilorry expels 19 students over theft, exam malpractices. Wow. Multiple auto crashes kill 13, injure 2 in Obajana. FRSC boss orders investigation. Insecurity, train passenger volume slumps. Zenith emerges Nigeria's best bank for 4th year. Kaduna debts, NEF can orders fume. Tell Governor Sani to go after ex-Governor Erufai and other culprits. Easter, POS operators mop up cash at ATMs. What stories do we have in the Sun? Daily Sun, anybody?
Okay, so I have the domestic carriers. Said following the CBN's decision to allocate $10,000 to bureau de change operators at a preferential exchange rate of 1,251 per dollar, airline operators of Nigeria, that's AON, has requested a dedicated channel to access foreign exchange to meet their operational needs.
Why are you laughing?
Where has the story? And I was, you know...
It's okay, go ahead.
So you can
Finish it, finish it.
So, according to the spokesperson for the AON, he said that despite the fact that aviation is a very critical sector, it contributes to the country's GDP and requires significant amounts of forex to cover dollar-based expenses like sourcing spares and maintenance. Nigeria Airlines continue to face difficulty accessing forex to meet their operational needs. He said this difficulty in obtaining readily available forex has forced domestic airlines to source it in the open market despite its unfavorable rates. But I'm saying we don't need this anymore. We just cleared the backlog of forex. There should be a better way of doing things. If we have to compel using local currency so we avoid this, I think we should find a way to do that. But I don't know if that will work for the aviation industry. Also, manufacturers are also bemoaning the scarcity of forex for their business as well. If we can exhaust local sourcing of raw materials, I think we should do that before manufacturers have to resort to importing so that they don't need to spend this dollar that way. So it's so scarce.
It depends on what you're manufacturing.
It depends on the
Yeah.
If I said
if you can, if you
exhaust
cannot, yeah.
that option first. So let's always look within first. I don't think we should be at this point of looking for
Forex, import raw materials.
Okay, so I have Uni Lorraine expels 19 students over...
Uni Lorraine.
Uni Lorraine expels 19 students over theft, exam malpractice. University of Ilorin, Kwara State, has announced the expulsion and rustication of 19 students, among them 6 final-year students for their alleged involvement in a range of offenses. When things like this happen, I wonder, so do they have to go to another school, start all over again, and this is a public university, so
Yes,
plus strike and everything. Anyways, the institution's Director of Corporate Affairs, Mr. Kunle Akogon, in a statement yesterday, said the approval of expulsion and rustication of affected students by the Vice-Chancellor, Prof. Wahab, was sequel to the recommendations of the Students' Disciplinary Committee as its 220th and 221st meeting. The statement noted that the affected students were penalized for offenses ranging from misconduct, theft, exam malpractice, hostel bed space racketeering.
Wow. They did that a lot in my school.
And extortion, beating a fellow student, admission racketeering, extortion and assault. Wow. So I just pity the final year students. Like, why would you do that?
That is what affects.
Because they have to start. They have to give another between 5 to 7 years to start all over again.
Jesus.
So why would you do that to yourself?
All right, let's move on now to the
I have a story. The OPEC price slash. So, OPEC governs it's a community of oil-producing, exporting countries, and Nigeria and Iraq's inability to meet up with the expected output. And we know for Nigeria, the reason we haven't been able to meet up with the expected output is because of vandalism, crude oil theft. It affects our income. There was marginal appreciation of 1.1% in the cost of crude oil at the global market. So instead of selling for $87.92, it's sold for an additional 0.95%. And we're unable to take advantage of that increase because we, as well as Iraq, are unable to export the assigned number that we should be able to,
So they
even have the capacity to do. While other countries in OPEC are cutting to maintain the price, they are cutting their own supply by themselves. We didn't have to cut because some people are cutting it for us over the high sea, and we're unable to make the revenue that we need to make through the crude oil. I do hope that whatever policy is being done by the security partnership we've signed with Ompolo and those guys is producing the results we want to produce, because we should be able to be at least meet up with our expected.
So Vanguard, a major headline: banks need 4.7 trillion to scale CBN's new capital hurdle. VP Shetima, CBN Governor Cardoso, Ayo Teriba, headline 2024 Vanguard Economic Summit. LP crisis. Abure rejected Peter Obi's advice for all-inclusive convention, Ubidati spokesman. Energy crisis, more troubles for Gencos as federal government increases gas price by 11%. Okwoma, how soldiers and villagers died, according to the eyewitness. Edo Guba, chairman group bicker over Accord Party's candidate. Police confirm robbers rob set ablaze passengers bus in Ogun. Withheld salaries will shut down varsities if, this is according to the non-teaching staff. London maiden flight, how we fought restriction of air peace, returned flights to rejected parts of MMIA. This according to Unyema. 2024 Olympics, only 2 Nigerians capable of winning medals, says Igali. So I have the story of the Lagos non-teaching staff in the nation's public universities set for an indefinite industrial action. This is following non-payment of their withheld salaries. Said the workers under the aegis of Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, the National Association of Academic Technologists, NAT, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Allied Institutions, NASU, are protesting the non-payment of their salaries withheld as a result of their strike in 2022. You know, they had taken a 2 weeks a strike before, warning strike before, because they said that the universities, that's ASU, have started collecting their salaries, the salaries that was owed when they said no work, no pay, and they've started paying them. But the non-teaching teaching staff of the universities have not been able to get their money. They say they've been trying as much as possible to have meetings, with the presidency, have meetings with the bodies that are in charge, but they've been playing them like, the way you play ball. And they are saying that they need to get this monies. And this is how it's usually done all the time. They do not recognize the non-teaching academic staff as part of the whole body, and they are not treated equally with the teaching staff. And so they are going to be going on an indefinite strike till the federal government does something and responds to them. They need their salaries paid. Yeah. Do we have any other story in the Vanguard? Okay.
There was a story we missed in another paper.
Okay.
Because this would affect many Nigerians, and I want to calm the fear down. There was really palpable fear yesterday, as many filling stations in Lagos and Ogun State didn't have fuel. And because we experienced queue in February, panic started with people worried that there might be a fuel scarcity crisis. But what the paper was telling us was that, based on the investigation they did, they found out that it isn't about fuel crisis. It's the fact that there was holiday for 4. It was like before the weekend and after the weekend, and it will affect the supply. And pre that holiday, there was a bit of hiccup, but they're expecting that from Wednesday, we should have enough fuel in all filling stations. So if you don't see fuel today, if you have enough in your car, don't join queue, just manage. By tomorrow, there'll be supply.
Thank you so much, ladies. That's all we can take in the newspaper reviews. Next, we move on to our sponsored segment. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Your View. However, we are breaking away for a live broadcast for a media chat by the Minister of FCT in Nyesom Wike in Abuja. Your View continues on our UK channel, YouTube, and TVC platforms. Okay, so back to our hot topic for today. Recently, Afrobeat singer Seun Kuti has waded into the DNA test controversy rocking the nation's social media space. According to him, there is no way that doing a DNA test is not about trust. Doing DNA test is a trust issue, 100%. It's not only a trust issue, it's also a power issue. No man would request for a DNA test if their partners are richer than them. Oh, wow. What are your thoughts on this? You can join the conversation and call us on 081-07641679, 0902416344. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect using the Your View hashtag on TVC, and you can also stream live on YouTube at TVC Entertainment. Follow our handles at the Ladies of Your View. And yeah, so it said DNA, this DNA matter is now about trust and the fact that no man will really ask for a DNA test, you know, if the money is involved, right? And there was also another DNA, you know, story that we wanted to talk about. I'm trying to get it now so that I can just link the two stories. Yes. However, this particular person says, and the story is quite interesting. It says, I recently gave birth and my marriage has hit a rough patch. My husband and I dated for 4 years before getting married, during which I remained fiercely loyal. A trait my husband boasted about to his family and friends. However, I caught him cheating during our courtship. Fast forward 2 years into the marriage, my husband sat me down one day and told me he would be conducting a DNA test on our future children, and he wanted me to be aware of it so it wouldn't look somehow. Blah, 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 blah. Fast forward, when she finally gave birth, she decided not to give the child the husband's surname till the DNA test is ready. Shebi, this man has said, I must conduct a DNA test to be sure I'm not going to be raising a child that is not mine. Wow. And the man was fuming, and family members were calling her out and saying, why don't you give, why are you not allowing this child to have the surname? And she said, I'm only trying to do him a favor. Let's wait. I'm telling you, no, it's a DNA matter. Let's wait for the DNA test to come so that I'm sure I'm giving the name to the right child. Abi? So these are the issues. Now let's talk about the DNA and the trust. What do you think about requesting for DNA? If Mr. Zibiri comes now to say, Nimao, I want to do DNA tests for all my children, how would you take it?
If he does it, for me, the marriage should be over. It goes to the core of my marriage and my being. If I go to the family I'm from, it's a dent on my image. Wow. Yes, for you to question at this time means there was no trust, and we've been wasting each other's time for 15 years. Don't waste my time, you know. But certain circumstances warrant these things, you know. In the case of this woman, you're married to somebody, allow the person have his child. If I born child in your house while we're married, the name should be. Yeah, let me pause you a bit. I'm still going to retake the first notice that I gave. We are still watching Your View. However, we are breaking away for a live broadcast for a media chat by the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, in Abuja. Your View continues on our UK channel, YouTube, and TVC platforms. Okay? Go ahead. Okay, so I was saying that, you know, I pride myself with the kind of virtues I was raised with. I would not appreciate my husband not trusting that, you know, a child, if I was pregnant for somebody else, I would have left him. So because of the kind of...
You have that integrity.
Yes, so it goes to questioning my character and my background and family. But then, certain circumstances warrant these things, depending on how your relationship is wired, the kind of person you're married to, for whatever reasons. If, for instance, a DNA reveals that one of my children is not my husband, so we are going to the hospital where I born the child. Both of us are looking for the father of the child, both of us.
For the parents.
For the parent of the children.
They may have swapped.
Now, two of us go find out because I will not know where to answer the question. But certain circumstances, you know, but warranted. But I did not support the woman who has a child just because, you know, the husband said the DNA will be done. He said, no, let the child not have your name.
No, why don't you support that?
She's also just dishing him his poison.
No.
You know, now if you want it, you know, but I think it's unnecessary. You're married to him. Let him go and do his DNA. He's the one who wants to deny his children. If they are not his children or whatever, I think he should not have gone that length.
I think differently, but let me come to the ladies. Who's ready, Max?
So I feel it's the audacity of the man in this instance, especially the instance of the husband that cheated in the relationship. You cheated, then you have the audacity to question to question my own loyalty and faithfulness. It doesn't even make sense. I think the lady, I support the lady 100%. Because if he had the audacity, he cheated, you forgave him. And then he knows that you've been faithful and loyal in the marriage. And he has the audacity to question you and want a DNA test. You should also, I like the fact that you had the audacity to not give him, to not give your child his name. Give the child, they said innocent until proven guilty. But this one, she's guilty now until proven innocent. So no problem, I'll give the child my name. Then when the DNA test comes out...
And it's your child.
It's your child, no problem, okay? We continue. If it's not your child, Kwano, I give it to the other man, or I keep my child myself. It's in my name already. If you have that kind of audacity to do that, then you should also be ready for the consequences too.
Yeah. Now, the issue of trust, do you think people asking for DNA is because they don't trust?
Exactly. I think, of course, DNA is a trust issue, because if you believe that your partner is faithful, that your kids, you put together, and then your kids are your kids, then why are you looking for? Why are you asking for DNA? It's different that maybe you're trying to, maybe one of the partners lives abroad and you're trying to do paperwork, or something happens. Let's say child is sick, or maybe circumstance that prevails that now makes you question that, and you not decide to have a DNA. It's a different circumstance. But when you, as a father, just wake up one morning and say, well, I want to have a DNA on my children, then it's a trust issue. There's something going on in your mind, in your head space, that makes you question the legitimacy of those kids, and if actually they are yours. And I also like what Seun Kuti said, that people raise orphans, people adopt children and raise them as their own, right? Yeah. I've heard of situations where most men are not able to father children, and they agree with their wives to adopt, even for the wife to let the child at least be linked to one of them. So the man allows the woman go take on a person's sperm to conceive, right? Okay.
Surrogacy?
Surrogacy, even for her to go and do the do and carry the baby. Yes, so people have different circumstances on what they can agree on, depending on what's going on in their lives, right? Yes, so I like what he said, like that people can raise other people's children and love them. Are you trying to say that you've raised a child over 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, and then you wake up one day because of a DNA test, that child is not yours, and then you don't love that child anymore? You just stop loving that child.
No, but Amaka, I know this is heartbreaking. Before I come to the topic, we've had cases of paternity fraud.
Yes.
And I don't think people just woke up and started demanding for DNA. But they've given statistics that how many % of Nigerian children are actually not for their so-called fathers. Yeah. They've given another percentage, if you look at statistics, that the firstborn child of every marriage likely may not be from the father. So these things are like landmarks and track records. And Nigerian men are saying, we can't keep raising children and finding out in 30 years, 20 years, 10 years that they are not ours. We have to do paternity fraud. So who should be trusting who in this case? Well, let me come to Tope.
So, how will I put it? First side of the story is the side around trust. We all agree. DNA shows that there is lack of trust already. If there wasn't lack of trust, you wouldn't be testing to confirm if anything is true. So let's put trust aside. I am wondering about the part of I'm wondering about the part of the idea of if the woman is financially empowered, you will not do DNA test.
Yeah, no go let you.
Because not necessarily. I think that in most cases, when you come to the point where you are doing DNA test, you are heartbroken. You have evidence that you just want clarity on the fact that, have I been lied to all through this marriage? Now, that person is not thinking about the person who has money or who doesn't have money. maybe the conversation would be like, maybe a man who is not financially empowered will not think of DNA. Because it is when you have money and inheritance to give that you'll be thinking of DNA. I don't think it has to do with whether the wife has money or not. Men find, like, this is viral. I have fathered a child, or I've fathered children. If I begin to doubt that these children are mine or not, it's not concern of whether my wife has money or not. It's about me having assurance that these children are mine. And it shows a breakdown of trust. It shows that there are many challenges in that marriage already, that this is just one of the fruits of a very bad marital tree that we're trying to deal with. And the idea of, financial empowerment, yes, only a rich man would think of doing DNA, but I don't think it has to do with the wife. Another category that the other person that was in this same story, this woman who now gave birth, for me, there should be no marriage. I don't understand. Why would you marry somebody that is telling you that he will do DNA test on the children
before pregnancy?
As in, he told you before you got pregnant and you married that person. What kind of desperation is that? Then what kind of vindictiveness is in the woman to think that I would give the children my name? Both of you, your head.
They married each other.
You need to be re-examined. Both of you have mental issues.
Each other.
Like, what kind of system is that one? The wife said, I will give them my own name until I'll give the child my name until you prove they are your own.
Yeah, but is she wrong?
Wow.
Is she
then
wrong?
She's bitter. Like, as in, my life is too important. My goals are too big. Many souls are perishing. For me to start being petty and marry someone who already says he does not trust me, then I'll not give the person my own name.
But she doesn't trust him because
don't even marry in the first place.
Why did they go on with the marriage?
Exactly.
She said she caught him cheating.
And forgave him
before.
now.
She forgave him, and then he summons her and says he will do a DNA. That's the point you will ask. What are your reasons?
End of discussion.
You think that I want to use my own cheating to return your cheating that I caught you doing? If you
yeah.
know that, because then at that point we have trust issues. Don't even enter, because I cannot imagine waking up and burning shade for somebody inside his house.
And then giving my own name.
And then start the drama of you will take my name. You know, the back and forth is unnecessary. You could have avoided it. That's my stance.
But her feelings are valid. Anyway.
Very valid, though.
Her feelings are valid, even though maybe she doesn't want to leave her marriage. She
went
loves
to
her
marriage.
husband and everything, right? Her feelings are valid. That, you see, she's trying to express herself to her husband, like, this thing you did, it hurts me. But then she's trying to express it in a certain way. And she's not saying, the child has to bear my name forever. The child has to, at least for the birth certificate, the child should bear my name. They should bring certificates. You can't change it later when the DNA results.
They didn't even give them birth certificates
Yes,
from the hospital, because there was the confusion. Yes, the confusion is there. So I personally think that there's nothing wrong in asking for a DNA test. I think I've said this before. I would not take it personal. You know, just like how you want to find out the genotype of your partner in marriage. There was a time it was strange, but now we have come to accept it, that you need to be sure two of you are not ASAS, so you don't end up having SS children and then put yourself in trouble. You know, like how you want to find out your blood group, you know, how you want to ask questions about your family, your genealogy, where people came from, what your mother's character is and what your father's character is. That's how I see DNA, right, as far as I'm concerned. Because especially of what men have been going through over the years, where they get, you know, for a man, when you commit the crime and you impregnate somebody outside, you bring the child. Even if you don't bring the child, somehow the woman is not raising a child that she's not aware of, that is not her child. But for the man, it's strange, because now the man is raising children that he's not aware. So if you are aware and you choose to, like the case you example, like the surrogacy and the adoption, you know that I'm taking this person as my child, and I'm going to love this child, I'm going to raise this child, this is what God has given me. You know, you're prepared. But now we have men who are raising children thinking that they are their seed and their blood, and they're not aware. So asking me for a DNA test is not something I'm going to be upset about. I don't think you don't trust me. I just think you want to be safe. And of course, if it has happened somewhere around you before, it's enough for you to be afraid. Because hold on. Because nobody, listen, now, it's not about trauma now. Nobody, wait now. Nobody would like to have this happen to them.
But the man is traumatized.
And because you are traumatized, I will help you relieve yourself of the trauma. I will not take it personal.
There's a part of the tweet that we're missing. You know, Seun also said it's a power issue. Now let's go down the way patriarchy disempowered women.
Yeah, true. Go ahead.
It goes to the core of you.
Yes.
In those days, they used to take the white cloth and red blood stain.
To show that you're a virgin.
You know, they
How did they
did
test
all
you?
of these things. And some of us started to live by the books. We don't want problem. Now come and invent problem. I will give you problem back. Because the truth is, it's the power issue. When you have your children, in some families, they will carry the child. The ear no stand. Not be like MKO children. This one, you know, they start from photo DNA. You know, some women will be happy that the first child, when you are getting to, you now look at all the children, they look like a certain person. Not be we carry you now for 9 months. Why don't you even look like me? You know? So men want that power. They do it. Some just do it for no reason. You could have been a woman that lived well, lived by the books. Even the man did not feed you like the one we took yesterday. You know, empower you, know anything, but he will ask these children. You know, I don't want to use that word on TV, but some fathers will just look at you and say, the way you are behaving, you are not my child. I don't want to use the negative word they usually use.
Yeah.
They will look at a child, maybe the child is not agreeing or believing in the way they do, or the child grew up seeing the father being the worst kind of example. And this child just choose, I will never be like him. He will just look at the child and say, you don't look like me. You don't behave like me.
Don't you think DNA would have taken out that?
Okay.
But let's take this
even
call.
with DNA, you think he won't say it?
No.
It is,
But then he knows deep down that
this goes
he's his
down to the
child.
core of patriarchy. I am not saying if there are suspicious reasons that a woman lived or carried herself a certain way, that the man requires the DNA, he shouldn't do it. I'm not saying that.
Let's take this call.
Don't come and,
the call, go ahead. The call is gone. So what I'm saying now is, a man should have the right to say they would like to have a DNA. If my husband comes today to say, I want to have a DNA, I'm not, listen, we will go and have it.
You see, I will agree, but there will be consequences.
There's no consequence.
DNA.
There's no
Ah,
consequence.
no,
No.
BC.
See, I'm just telling you about me. I'm putting myself here now on the table.
Call for a DNA around Nigeria.
Yes,
now.
as
We are
you're giving
calling one
birth.
person mother to do DNA for her child. And I'm wondering, what do you want to do with the results? Except the
That one
result
is
is to
different.
clarify something.
If she doesn't want, it's okay.
Just as Amaka said, you are going abroad, you're traveling to a certain country, you want to be sure you're bringing your own biological children.
You will not be forced to do the same DNA you were dodging.
Pretty in your marriage. I'm saying, you're sitting pretty in your marriage. Both of you went before the Lord and do I do's. And you are sitting pretty in your marriage, and then you look at her, just look at her.
Because human beings have the capacity to fall, Nima.
Hey.
In a bond.
You do not.
Human beings have the capacity to fall.
Okay, let me say something.
And somebody may have fallen along the line.
Doubt a person.
And nobody heard.
You doubt a person, and the person is forced to prove themselves. There should be consequence.
So let me say
Amaka,
something,
please,
right?
tell us.
Okay, so we're looking at this. Let's look at it from a different perspective. How about a situation whereby both parties are being played? In this instance, I feel like how you communicate something to your partner or to whoever is important, right? You can achieve the same results, but then find a better way to go about it. How about the man telling his wife, like, baby, you know, we see what's been going on the ward and in hospitals where they keep swapping babies, things keep happening and stuff. I think for our own safety, so that we don't wake up in 10 years' time. You have to be emotionally intelligent when dealing with someone you love. When dealing with people, then
Communication.
You love. Do you understand? Because his brain should tell him that if the roles were reversed, that he won't feel okay being treated in that particular manner, especially in a situation where you've been caught cheating in the past. So they say, baby, see what's going on. In fact, this friend of mine, they stole his baby at the hospital and exchange. Come up with whatever story to still get what you want to get.
It doesn't look like you
Would
doubt.
that be a lie? But let me pause you, Amaka. Let's take this call, Rotimi, before we lose it again. Good morning, Rotimi.
Good morning, this is God bless the ladies this morning.
God bless you too, sir.
Sometimes I feel restrict calling you guys on this your studio because every issue that concerns me, apart from this morning, these ladies will always want to castigate men. Let me tell you, this DNA issue and paternity issue, if this thing was on the other way around, if it is against women, if it was men that man needs to do DNA on and bring an illegitimate child to a woman to be trained, women in Nigeria will have come to National Assembly to make a law to punish any woman in marriage that brings a bastard to the husband's home when the man conducted DNA and got to know about it. A lot of them have died in trauma issue. How can you be so children? No, after 25 years, and now discover, after I'm still going to pay, now discover this is somebody else's children. It is appalling. And it's only the women to rise up against this thing. I expect you guys to rise up against this thing, to stand against any man, woman that is married.
Nima has a question for you, sir.
Go outside the marriage and bring.
I think you came late to the party. So DNA has been happening. It's not
online,
today that medical people came.
Ask him the question.
Yes, I'm asking him. Have you not seen in your culture that women are made to drink from a certain pot to prove the paternity of children?
Yeah.
To prove their faithfulness in marriages? To do all sorts of unnecessaries? Yeah. If a woman's husband dies, if a man's wife dies, they cut his hair and put him through rigorous burial rites? It is women, wait a minute, it is women who have been made to go through this. If a man...
Let him answer.
I'm very calm. I'm asking you, the history of all of these practices to today, what did men do about it?
Let me give you a scenario for what you just mentioned earlier.
Okay,
a
give us
child
some.
acting strange against the original owner of the family. This thing happened to one of my aunties. My auntie, she's over 50 years now. She got to know her dad not up to 3 years before the mother died. The mother died this year, early this year. Now, she is the eldest. She has younger ones who have grown. But her character is different totally from the other siblings. She's the first daughter of the family. But the other did not tell her that this person you are claiming your father is not your father. This auntie has about 4 grandchildren. Her own children have gotten married. Both boys are dead. They are all settled. Before she got to know who her biological father was. This is how dangerous woman can be. You guys must raise your voice about this thing. I do not appreciate you guys trying to bring in the issue of men always on your program, particularly, maybe probably because it's a gender program issue. You guys will try and go to National Assembly or State Assembly and sponsor a bill that will punish a woman that stays in a husband's house and bring out a child that after DNA has discovered this. This is destroying the value of women in our society. Go to Lagos Island.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So
but we're doing, yes, we're doing our job here. We cannot sit.
Character. Just a moment. Okay. I don't think character of any child is determined genetically.
No, not at all.
By the circumstance of their upbringing.
Yes, exactly. The environment.
So that's the point itself. To have a child who is different from you is not an issue of DNA. There must be other circumstances that warrant it. But so look at a woman in a marriage, maybe because of the way you've treated her, make her drink from a certain pot to prove innocence. I know a certain culture, I'm not going to mention here, that when a woman is pregnant, she must go through certain of those rites.
Yes.
Calabashes and all of that,
Many
to
of our
prove certain
cultures,
things. She
sure.
don't go through and finish, don't burn shine. In some cultures, in the end of Lagos, one end of Lagos, they will do under rain. They will say she should bring the child under rain, rain should not fall on the child. What are we proving? Then when you have proven it, you have done everything by the books. The man looks at you and says, okay, I want a DNA. And you do a DNA, you say there will be no consequence. If you call my child illegitimate, I don't want to use the word they usually use to address it. And it's proving that you are wrong. You say you will just go to sleep, you just be happy. There must be another consequence.
So let me take this call back. I know Amaka has been holding. We have David from Mushin. Good morning, David.
Good morning. How are you, my beautiful sister?
We are doing amazing, sir.
Very much. Please, this thing of a thing that you are sounding this way, it's not easy like that to my sister. If your husband should come to you today now and tell you that, Madam, I want to do DNA, you feel somehow because of the trust has already disappeared immediately. Because at first, why moving with someone you don't trust? If you don't trust someone, it's better you break up than moving with such person, then breaking the person's heart along the line. Because I cannot imagine my sister husband or myself telling my sister that he wants to do DNA for their kids. Then after conducting the DNA, then the result came out that the child are his. Then which eye do you want even the children themselves to look at their father?
They won't know now. They won't know. They just go to the hospital for a checkup. They won't know. Let's not make it too.
What if the woman is angry one day and out of her fury she speak out? Is that not the way you think your children are bastard? Then one of them are me. We mad about the other time that the character of somebody, you can use character to trace out whether the kid is yours or not. No.
Thank you, David.
So,
Thank you. Amaka.
So I want to respond to the first caller, and I have two things to say here to him. The first one being like what I said here. Anybody can ask for anything in a relationship, in marriage. How you ask, do you understand, is important. You can still get the same result. BC, you are saying that maybe that means it's lying. It's not lying when I'm being emotionally intelligent and I tell my wife, like, babe, see what's going on in around, and it's actually happening around the world. Yeah, what's happening? People steal people's babies and stuff. Please, can we conduct a DNA test immediately our baby is born to be sure that the hospital gave us our own child? When you come from that perspective, I'm going to say, this my husband is so intelligent, so smart. Baby, you're right, too. So you make sure that you're there. Immediately I bring out the baby, they should carry the baby, run the test. You still get the same results, but now you haven't stepped on the woman's integrity, emotions, and everything, right? Because you say, do you understand? Because you feel like I step on it. Because if you love somebody, then the second thing I want to ask the first caller now is, so who now protects women? What law protects women against their husbands that keep shitting out babies everywhere? It's the same thing. You see, in Africa, yes, patriarchy. You want DNA to make sure that the baby is your baby and your delivery.
And should that be a wrong thing?
Should that be a wrong thing to want? Yeah. Do you understand?
Let me take this call, please. We have another caller. Olajumoke. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller, and I always enjoy the program.
Thank you.
Well, the topic today is very, very interesting. And the truth is that most of the time, thank you, we always love to deceive ourselves emotionally. Emotion is what has been put there. And whether we like it or not, no matter how anyone is trying to kill that emotion, it must reflect. Either facially or in one way or the other. I just want to go with Nima. The truth is that for you asking for a DNA test, something must have occurred. And you don't expect to go ask somebody you have lived with, you have trusted for a long time. You have put down everything just to be together. And suddenly you come to ask for a DNA test. The truth is that even if you agree to it, once the issue is over, honestly speaking, the relationship can never be the same. Then certainly, somehow, the woman begins to think, what has brought up this issue? What made the husband to think of bringing up a DNA test? Somehow you begin to say, we mustn't deceive ourselves. So and that's why I will go with Amaka also. Even if you think you want to have it, don't demoralize your partner. Ask for it in an intelligent way. Don't ask because you just... When did we start bringing up a DNA test, especially in Nigeria today? It is because of certain issues that brought it up. So we should not deceive ourselves. DNA test comes up because you have a reason that you have doubted in one way or the other. So we must be intelligent. Don't just destroy what you have been building for a very long time. Suddenly, and the man that spoke the last time, a caller before the other caller, I don't know why he's just getting so emotionally angry unnecessarily. Women also must fight for their rights. There are so many things women are suffering, and you are just keeping quiet because you can't just fight for it. True. You just must be quiet, especially in today, our nation, our Nigeria for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. You were finishing.
Okay, so I was finishing. So, like I said, someone should please let me know what test I would conduct so that when I get married, I will know if my husband is popping out babies outside. I just want to know if there's a test for that. That's all, because that's the only thing that can justify you stepping on someone's emotions like this without being emotionally intelligent and no consequence.
I'm saying no consequence.
That's it.
My point is,
Phrase.
no consequence.
Hello, Nima. I'm not understanding.
My point is,
what's your point?
Wait, just a moment. The consequence I'm
making my point.
Let me make a point. Let me make a point.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Because at the end of the day, what we are discussing as a society, like the norm, is a very unusual, sad scenario. scenario where a woman deceives the husband by giving the husband children that don't belong to him is a sad scenario, is a wrong scenario, is a oda, and it is happening.
Yes, it is.
So the reason we're having DNA scandals come up more is because as Japa is happening, there is a lot of DNA requests in the Canadian embassies and all other embassies, and people are finding out disturbing information. So we should not normalize what is wrong. What is wrong is DNA question only comes up where something is wrong. In an ideal setting, we are both faithful to one another.
So we're
now,
saying,
we don't have
we...
an 100% ideal setting. But when you came up with your question, BC, I said any man that is in a relationship with his partner doesn't trust his partner enough to be saying, let's have, or say, oh, I trust you so much, but I just need to do a DNA test. For me, you cannot trust me and want to do a DNA test. It's already showing you don't trust me. So let's say you have a trauma to deal with. You need to find a way to deal with it that does not insult me. Because the moment you ask me for DNA test, it means you are insulting me that I'm sleeping around and I have brought a child that is not your own likely into the house. That is the fact. DNA question is you have brought a child in. Do women bring children into the house? Yes. But you should have evidence before bringing up DNA conversation.
Exactly.
And if there is evidence, we can have that conversation. That woman that said, give him my child, I'm giving my child my own name, knows that the husband has no evidence. So she's reacting. Let's not, like I said, not normalize what is wrong. Let's not normalize a scenario that is, it's like saying, oh, we take medicine. We use malaria medicine like it's multivitamin in Nigeria. He's normalizing what is wrong. And it has its own side effects as well because it creates a society where misnomer becomes normal.
Yeah, let's take this call. Grace from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Grace. We lost Grace. So what I hear all of you, and I agree with you people, right? But what I'm trying to say is there any way we can protect both parties? Because sometimes when these laws come about, it seems like, they are attacking my morality. They are attacking my integrity. They are attacking this, they are attacking that. But we're not seeing the greater good of this is just like a measure put in place to protect both parties. It could be protecting your husband from you that lies and has gone outside to go and mix children. We've seen a lot of them, and we have to protect one another. It could be protecting you from crazy hospital caregivers who swap children for money. It could be protecting you from anything. Can we just make it in such a way that we understand that it's not something about me distrusting you. It's just that I need to be sure from the beginning. We've seen cases where the children finally find out that the person who raised them, who they knew as father, was not their father. And he put a dent into the relationship. The children, as adults, have emotional baggage they carry from it. There's trauma from that. The husband is traumatized from that. Years of thinking you are doing this right and realizing after how many years that you have missed it. Shouldn't we stop it from the beginning? So at the beginning, everybody knows where they are going to. That's just what I'm saying. I'm not saying is right or is wrong. I'm just saying, is there a way we can protect ourselves by starting this DNA from the hospital? As they born and they check out.
Start it from the hospital. Why are we even bothering to marry? Let's contractualize our marriage.
I don't understand, Nima.
Yes, now, when you are marrying somebody, both of you are coming in, trusting, loving each other. And at birth, you're questioning the chastity or character of one party.
It's not question.
No, now who born now that they always test now? It's the patriarchy here that we're discussing here. It's the patriarchy and the abuse of women over the years in African cultures. We test women. We test them at giving birth. We test them at marrying them. We test them at giving birth. We test them after raising the children. But nobody, where's the test, as Amaka asked?
So test the men. We're going to find that test. But let's take this call.
So you will see the men, waka and so wild oats. And then they marry at the burial.
Then we see. No, when the burial ceremony, they don't bring one small child.
Wait now.
We just say we should introduce, he should pour sand.
When the man is not there.
Let him to pour sand.
We see test the woman at that burial. She's not patient. She don't have a large heart.
She has killed the man.
She reject her husband's child. It's too much.
Let's take this call. Solomon from K2. Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Let's be sincere here. Let's not be biased. Two wrongs doesn't make it right. If you want to put it, this DNA test, I can't imagine, like, I got married to somebody, I trust her before I married her. Then I stayed for like 15, 20 years. Then one scenario just brought up, then
I discovered that she was not the child is not my son or daughter. I can't imagine what will happen. You understand? Okay, the trust that I had for her, okay, what happens to those trusts? And again, I understand what Nima is saying, that other things that have happened in the past regarding women and all that. Okay, does that now justify it doing it to the man? You understand? And again, men, some men, we even demoralize all those things that happened against women in the past. And we always stand on it. Look at women supporting women. It's not necessarily women. Men mostly come out to support women. Yeah. So in this kind of a thing, what is bad is bad. I trusted a woman before I married her. You understand? Then DNA test, normally, I'm not supposed to do a DNA test, but all these things is shocking.
Yeah, it is.
Very, very. I can't imagine at 15 years, 10, 12, nothing came up till, it's not like the man just got it out or something. Maybe one thing. Look at that footballer. Look at, seriously, it's very, very disturbing.
Yeah, it is disturbing. Thank you so much for this. We have to go. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this conversation. And I hope that we have taken the sides that we want. You know, if you are for DNA, if you are against DNA, whatever it is, just communicate nicely. Yes, just like Amaka said, you have to learn to communicate to your partner. Emotional intelligence, pay attention to how they really feel when you're bringing up topics like this. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we move on to yet another segment. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Last week, the Central Bank of Nigeria unveiled new minimum capital requirements for banks, pegging the minimum capital base for commercial banks with international authorization at 500 billion. And this is coming days after the Apex Bank urged Nigerian banks to expedite action on the recapitalization of their capital base to strengthen the financial system. Joining us on the show is an economist, Dr. Ayodele Shitu, who will be helping us understand these things. Okay, the guest we have actually is Mr. Oji, who will be helping us dissect this information. Good morning, Mr. Oji.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. How are you guys doing over there?
We're doing great, sir. We're doing great, sir. So I would like to start by asking you how you took the news of the recapitalization of banks by the CBN and what you think is going to do to the Nigerian economy, you know, looking at all the inflation we've been dealing with for so long now, and how you think this is either a step in the right direction or not.
Okay, can you confirm you can hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
I had a little challenge with my network 2 seconds earlier. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can. We can.
All right, okay, so this is a very important discussion in looking at the kind of economy our dear President Tinubu wants to evolve in the next 8 years, according to the APC government. Nigeria is fighting very hard to grow its GDP to about $1 trillion from about $400 billion that we have today. And that kind of dream or ambition requires that we must have a very robust, healthy, well-capitalized banking system. Because in every country in the world, the financial system is closely knitted with the economic system. And that's why once you have a poor financial management or financial crisis, it always gives rise to economic crisis, and vice versa. So to drive strong economic growth, we need a very robust banking sector. So this capitalization exercise that the Central Bank under Cardoso wants to implement has been long in coming. I've actually expected that to happen quite a long while ago, looking at the fact that the last major exercise in that direction was in 2004, 2005, under our dear Central Bank Governor Soludo, as it then was. Now, His Excellency Soludo, the Governor of Anambra State. Then the goalpost was being shifted. Nobody wanted to drive that capitalization process, but Soludo came.
Are you there, sir?
Network.
Decided to put a firm deadline. I think that was about December, of minimum 1 billion naira to, as at then, 25 billion. Mind you, before then, Nigeria had several banks, up to 84, 87 banks, that were considered flying carpets compared to their African counterparts. We had 84 banks then, whereby their total capital added together did not equal to the capital of the top 3 or 4 banks in South Africa then.
Oh.
So it was imperative for banks to merge together. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, sir.
All right, so it was very imperative then for Nigerian banks to merge together or fight to get in more investors, sell shares to capitalize properly so that Nigerian banks could rank fairly well among top African banks. And then Nigerian banks too will be able to mobilize enough capital to support lending to the real sector, because banks are important intermediaries between the deficit sector of the economy and the surplus sector. Their major role is to galvanize or put together all the capital in the country instead of being locked down, people keeping their money in their houses and so on. And that's why we're also driving what we call financial inclusion today. Every country in the world, particularly developing countries like in Africa, is trying to drive financial inclusion so that every human being in the country can have easy access to financial services, whether through microfinance banking, commercial banking, payment service banks, or through a fintech banking system, whereby people should no longer keep their monies in pigeonholes, in cupboards in their houses, or dig holes and all of that, which are like leakages in the economy. But all these monies should be put together in one banking system or the other, so that one, central bank will be able to have an idea the amount of money in circulation. It will help them, handle inflationary issues, protect money supply, and very importantly, all the capital in the country can be mobilized into the banking system so that those who need money to build new houses, to build their businesses, expand their businesses, bring in raw materials, generally expand the economy, grow productivity, employ labor, and all of that. Finance, agriculture, industry, and trade. All of that is what banks support in the economy. So the more robust the banking system is, the more capital or savings banking system pulls together, the more money you have to intervene, to intermediate in the financial system, so that business can get money to grow, and employment can be generated, and GDP can also grow. So capital development in banks or capitalization is critical to ensure that enough funds are put together, not just from investors, but also enabling them open more offices and gather more deposits for the economy to grow.
Mr. Algie,
as a layman, let me ask, what is capital base and how is it relevant to me who is just saving? Is it not a saving house? Who is just putting my funds aside there so I can take it and do something? How is it relevant to the average Nigerian?
How does it affect us?
It's not an investor term as to how big an investment place can be. How is it relevant to the ordinary savings account holder?
All right, okay, let me break it down the way an ordinary Nigerian watching this program can understand it. So that's the essence of communication, that people understand what you're trying to explain. Capital in this case means that the central bank wants owners of banks in Nigeria to put more money on the table. To put more money on the table, that means if you currently have, let's say, only about 20 billion naira, money brought in by owners of the bank to enable them build their infrastructure, develop branches, develop softwares that can enable banking system moves more smoothly. We now want you to, when you have 20 billion or 15 billion, we give you a regional license. You can operate in one region in Nigeria. Now, for you to have that license, please sell more shares, merge with another bank, or whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. Let's ensure that the money you have brought in on the table is minimum of 50 billion if you're a regional bank. If you're a national bank that wants to operate in every part of Nigeria, from Kano to Calabar to Enugu to Lagos to everywhere that you want to operate within Nigeria, national banking license, the money you have put on the table, that's the easiest way I can put it. Like you are doing, you are working today, but you want to start a business tomorrow. All the money you save together, as you can invest it to start a business. That money is what you call capital or initial capital to start your business. As you start the business, the more profit you make and reserve it, the more capital you have. And the more you sell shares to bring in more investors, the more capital you have. This is different from, money that you collect from customers. So capital in this case means the amount of resources or money that are attributable to the owners of the business. Why it is important? When the owners of business bring more money, they're able to withstand better risk. So a bank failure will be eliminated or minimized or curtailed. So capital helps bank to absorb risk. Capital also helps the owners of the bank to invest more in their business, open more branches, develop safer banking system, financial technology, and so on, so that Nigerian banking experience can be like what you see in developed countries. So capital helps banks to become more competitive and also be more solvent and, of course, liquid, but more important, solvent. That is, for banks to be able to meet their long-term obligations to curtail bank failure. Because the banking system is such that with that amount of capital you bring in, you open your doors and you even see times 10 of that money coming into the banking system. For example, in banking anywhere in the world, a bank that has about 100 billion naira capital, for example, may find itself collecting deposit worth 1 trillion.
Okay, Mr. Oji.
So, and from that 2 trillion,
let's get a few more questions in.
100 billion, you find that they're giving compared to your capital is
Mr.
small. So by the time you capitalize more, one, you can give more loans and you can have more capacity to withstand the risk of failure if those loans go bad.
Mr. Oji, can you hear me?
To give out bad loans, but it does happen because of business.
Can you hear me, sir? Let's get a few more questions in.
So I wanted to ask about these bank mergers, because I recollect the last time we had bank mergers, many shareholders, the smaller guys in the shareholding industry, had their shares cut into smaller bits. Some people do not even have the education to go and revalidate their shares. Companies like Intercontinental Bank, Oceanic Bank, people were shareholders in those companies, and somehow, there was nothing to write home about where their shares went into. How is the policy different now that if there's need be for banks to merge, how are the shareholders being protected?
Now, we need to, financial knowledge or financial literacy is very scarce in most developing economies, and that's a very important area that government must bring up policy to help people. Anybody who's buying shares in any business must know that those shares make him a business owner. Shares are documents or evidence of allocation of ownership in a company. When you are an ordinary shareholder, you are a risk taker. I want to use that word so you understand, what it means when we say your shares have evaporated and they have no meaning whatsoever, and your money has gone down the drain. It's not government's problem. Now, when you are a risk taker, you have bought shares in the company. Ideally, you are meant to be part of that company's management, but because there are several shareholders, they now appoint amongst them a few to represent them in the board. But what am I saying here? A shareholder is someone who has decided to take a risk in a company. What does this mean? When the company is doing very well, your shares will be going up in value because more people want to come into that company. When your company is not doing very well, it's being poorly managed, your share value is going down. Maybe the par value of the shares is 50 kobo, for example, and you bought 1 million units at 50 kobo. That's 500,000 naira investment. Now, mind you, if the business keeps growing, that your share will keep growing. And when they make money, they give you dividends. Then if the company is being badly managed by whoever you put there as the managing director and his team of management and shareholders, if they run it down, your share can also crash to zero. What does that mean? That the amount of money you put down to run the business, let's say 1 billion naira as a capital, you have done the business and made losses, incurred losses, booked bad loans, whereby the loans you have booked have now demolished your share value, meaning that you, the owner, you have lost all your money. Your shares have become in your hand. You can't blame government or anybody. You're just a risk taker whose risk has now crystallized. And in fact, if even fraud is alleged on your part, you will be required to sell your personal property to bring more money on the table so that the bank can refund those that they took deposit from. So a shareholder is a risk taker who must monitor the risk he's taking and ensure that the bank is doing well. Go to their AGM meetings and protest if they're not doing well. If they are overspending or running the bank badly, you do that. So anybody who has shares must know that the shares can either grow and become better and earn more dividends, or they can also crash and become irrelevant, just like a piece of paper. So when banks are merging and a bank is not doing very well, they may likely merge on a very weak position, whereby the one taking you over can say that for you to belong to this new brand of business we are forming, bring 10 of your shares, 10 will give you one of this new business, this new bank.
Thank you, Mr. Audrey. Thank you, Mr. Audrey. We have one more question for you before we let you go.
Okay, so do you think this would encourage foreign portfolio investors to invest in the Nigerian commercial papers? What do you think about that?
No, the commercial paper system is a different system altogether.
Okay.
That's a platform where people can invest in instruments issued by blue chip companies, banks or no bank.
Okay.
Dangote, Liber Brothers, BZL can issue commercial papers and raise money. That will make the financial system robust. But this share capitalization will actually enable people who lost out in the last round of investment in the banking system to now own a piece of a bank in Nigeria today. By buying this share, the bank will start selling very soon. You can now have an ownership in GT Bank, in Zenith Bank, in Access Bank, in all the banks in Nigeria, Fidelity Bank and the rest of them, Keystone Bank and so on. As they sell their shares, you will find that you have opportunity to go in again. Most likely, this share will be sold at a price lower than the current market price of book value, as the case may be. So it's an opportunity for local investors and even, very importantly, portfolio investors to come more into Nigeria. And if that happens, you may see more dollars coming into the country for those who want to invest in this bank on a permanent basis, which is a kind of foreign direct investment. So it's a good news, but it's going to be some stress on this bank. But I know that, as they've been told, before the end of this month, they'll submit their plans to Central Bank on how they go about this capitalization, which, if it is done, will make our banks more robust, like I said before. They're able to give out more loans to the economy. Then hopefully the economy can grow from where it is today to a $1 trillion economy in the next few years, as our president had envisaged.
Thank you so much, Mr. Audrey Udemezue, for being on the show and helping us understand this bank recapitalization. Now we are hoping that in a few years after this, even the banks will be able to loan the country money instead of us going cap in hand to other countries to get money. And I hope that the viewers out there also understood what Audrey Udemezue gave to us today. And that's all we can take on the show today. We're going to see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye now.
All right.